so let's go back to the faith. So you said 1469. So we're talking like, what is that? 550, almost 600 years.
And change.
600 years ago. Okay, so I have a few questions about the faith. Maybe you understand, and maybe you know the history or whatever. Maybe you don't. I don't know, but I have some questions there. But interesting for you to say, like, that's really not that long ago, as compared to maybe Christianity, which is, obviously much, much older in the history books. So I wonder what started this? Like, what was the impetus for this upstart of this new faith, or this new, I'm going to call it religion, because I think that's what people can. Faith is different than religion, right? But I think people can understand, maybe when you look at the different types of ways people practice faith. I'm going to use the term religion. That might be incorrect. What started this? Was this a tribe of people that had moved, into some other area that was being bullied by somebody else, or was having things forced on them from a religious perspective? Can you talk about this?
Sure, absolutely. So Sikh history is also something that fascinates me a lot. And if I'm not doing dry practice, Scott, I'm looking up stuff on my faith. Or if I'm not working out, actually, when I'm working out, like if it's like an easy cardio day, I'll probably be listening to like a podcast on my faith. So,
okay, cool. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, not that long ago, dude, like 550 to 600-ish years ago, not even 600 years ago in India. That's where it started. So you have to remember, back then, there was no such thing as Pakistan. It was just all one thing.
Right.
Pakistan's like a new thing. I think in the 1940s, the late 1940s there, that happened. So what is today Southeast Pakistan and Northwest India, that's kind of the river, the area that Sikhism started, known as the Five Rivers area, or Punjab. It started there by one teacher that we have. It's called a guru. Guru is the spelling. And that means enlightener. Somebody that brings you from darkness into light.
Okay.
So our first teacher's name was Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And his whole, I'm gonna do what my mom taught me at a young age. His most important mission to teach everybody was about love. So love for man, love for the things that you can see, the things that you can't see. Treat them all equally, and also love for the creator that created everything. And everybody has different names for that creator, and that's totally fine and on purpose. And I think this is one of the coolest parts of the faith, is that in our Holy Scripture, there's, in the Indian subcontinent, as many names as they had for the creator, they're all in there on purpose to show it's the same thing, and we should stop fighting about it. A lot of that started in 1469, and kind of helping people connect in that time of darkness there, of trying to help people connect back to what they're supposed to be connecting to. So that creator and that oneness that pervades within everything.
So when you say darkness, what do you mean darkness during that time?
Good question. So what I mean by darkness is just basically maybe some religious practices that don't necessarily make sense, or just kind of being led astray. People being outcasted very much. The caste system at that time was very prevalent in India. And again, even when we talk about women's rights as well, that wasn't very existent back then in India. So kind of bringing everybody up onto the same playing field and making everybody equal is kind of one of the things that Guru Nanak Dev Ji had tried to strive for. And from that, we had 10 physical teachers. And then our spiritual text today, we believe, is the embodiment of all 10 of those teachers. As they wouldn't make us worship them, we do out of love. But what we actually worship is the messages that they gave us of how to live a good life, a spiritual life, and an honest life. So the three things that Guru Nanak Dev Ji had taught us, and all Sikhs try to do, is make an honest living, share what you make with others, and then meditate on the oneness that keeps everybody alive, that aliveness, that universal presence. I think the term God sometimes is a little too limiting, because automatically for me, I'm just like a dude chilling upstairs, with a white beard, kind of, rocking chair, just, sitting up in the clouds. And I think that's kind of limiting to just like one thing, versus I like saying like this universal presence. I've gotten that from a lot of, my spiritual teachers. that, I think that's a much more apt term. And I think it's a much more applicable term across many faiths. So that thing that keeps you alive, that aliveness, having that kind of um, basically constantly being in remembrance of that. And that is what a Sikh's life starts from, is again making that honest living, working hard, having a family, sharing what you make with others, and then constantly focusing on that being meditative state. And through that meditative state, a lot of the soldieristic aspects come in, of serving others and protecting others.
I love that. I mean, it just sounds, again, it's a faith based in love, tolerance, and treating people right.